Anxiety generally will peak in the late springtime, and my sponsor, BetterHelp, can connect you with a therapist that will help. The majority of BetterHelp members seek help for anxiety, and 69% of members report better anxiety symptoms after just 6 weeks on therapy with BetterHelp. It's easy to start. Just fill out a questionnaire, and you will match with a therapist in as little as a couple of days. You can easily switch therapists anytime, and there's no extra cost if it's not the right fit. BetterHelp carefully make sure all therapists on the platform are licensed, and their customer support team is there to help you in case you have any questions. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is simply a platform you can trust. I want you to let BetterHelp help rule your anxiety so your anxiety does not rule you. Go to BetterHelp.com/Chael. That's going to get you 10% off your first month of help. BetterHelp.com/Chael. Or I made it even easier. You can just click the link below. Okay, so everyone had their opinions and rumors and stories about his shin break and injuries, etc. I found it all very entertaining. Unfortunately, none of it is true. I think he meant to say, fortunately, none of it's true. But at any rate, myself and the UFC, he should have said the UFC and myself. But again, they already discussed a fight date and an opponent. The June fight was never signed, and therefore I did not pull out of a fight. I am the champion. I know when I fight. You as a contender, show up when you're told to. Fight announcement coming soon. Stay tuned. Now that is from our champion, Dricus Du Plessis. And grammatically, a lot of errors in that. But you get the point. You get the message. The message that he is now giving you is the message that I gave you yesterday. I told you yesterday that he did not pull out of a fight. I told you it would be impossible per the definition because he never had signed for a fight. Couldn't cancel it. Couldn't cancel a fight that was never booked in the first place. But he does leave us with some very interesting talking points. For example, he's not hurt, which is great news. There was a rumor about a shin. In fact, I got that rumor from Kyle Brow, and that was just through an interview that I read about Kyle. But that's how the industry works. Everybody's manager, coach, trainer, I mean, it can cover all 7 continents in 5 minutes. And that's without the use of social media. That's just you can't keep a story from getting outside of a gym. So usually where you would hear that a guy is hurt and you would have something specific such as a hairline fracture to his shin bone, that would be very, very believable news. So Dricus gets in front of it and just lets us know, look, I let this burn for a couple of days and I kind of enjoyed the attention, but it's not true. I talked to the UFC. We got a date. As far as the opponent goes, when you're the opponent, you just show up. All right, I like all of these things. The one thing that was missing from the interview was the words Khamzat Chimaev. And that's a little bit of a surprise. It's a little bit of a surprise because to my understanding, it's Khamzat Chimaev. To my understanding, it has been Khamzat Chimaev. To my understanding, the announcement has come out that it will be Khamzat Chimaev. But not everybody agrees, including Imanov. I mean, Imanov spoke up 3 days ago in response to Kyle Brow calling for an interim championship, and Imanov said, I'm the number 1 guy. I'm not fighting in an interim championship, but I'm not fighting you. Because you're ranked that away, and I'm ranked all the way here at number 1. And I remember thinking, well, Imanov's done a very good job, and maybe I'm number 1 as an expression, but he's not number 1. He's not been declared number 1 contender like Chimaev has on 2 separate occasions. He hasn't beaten world champions like Chimaev has in his last 2 fights. I apologize, Imanov did just beat a world champion, but what I'm speaking to is you got an undefeated Chimaev. Imanov claims that he's number 1. That must just be a figure of speech. I go look it up. Imanov's number 1, Chimaev's number 3, and that changes things. All of a sudden, you get a statement coming out from our champion Dricus that says, I've got an opponent. And he also addresses everything that is coming out that is a rumor against him, such as he's hurt, such as he's pulled out of a fight, such as he had a fight in the first place in June, which he did not have. He corrects all of these things. He sat down to give information to the crowd, but he left one thing out. The words Khamzat Chimaev, and he left that out 48 hours removed from Imanov, claiming that's his spot. Oh, and by the way, if Imanov is in fact ranked number one, that is Imanov's spot, according to many. Not according to me. I'm well aware that he should be fighting with Chimaev. I'm just sharing there has always been something strange following Chimaev, and none of us have ever gotten clarity. You might be too young to remember this, but there was once a year called 2023. And that year had a month known as October. And Khamzat Chimaev fought a world champion named Kamaru Usman, who had only lost one time in 5 years, and that fight on short notice was stated for all to see a number one contenders match. And Khamzat Chimaev won. And then comes a month known as January, but now we're in the year of 2024. And that fight was offered to Khamzat Chimaev to stand opposite Sean Strickland, which was public. Privately, that was offered to Adesanya, and Chimaev was going to get swept away. But Adesanya didn't want the match for whatever reason. Comes back to Khamzat Chimaev to make good on the deal about him being a number one contender after beating Kamaru Usman. Problem is, Chimaev hit Kamaru Usman so hard, he broke his own hand. And he just couldn't turn it around from October 22nd to end of January. He couldn't turn it around that quick. And they found a guy that was speaking up on the internet known as Dricus Du Plessis, and they put him in a very underwhelming, under-sought after, under-purchased pay-per-view card. And Dricus turned out to be that damn good. And then all of a sudden, everything that Dricus touched was just red hot. You couldn't get him to do enough interviews. You could not invite him to enough press conferences. You couldn't put him on enough TV shows. You could not do enough with him. Like, nobody's over until they're over. But that was the night for Dricus, where we all go, whoa, this guy's really good. I'm only sharing with you. If you fast forward the tape a little bit more, we find ourselves in a very alike spot. Khamzat Chimaev, Robert Whittaker. Khamzat Chimaev, former world champion, Robert Whittaker. Khamzat Chimaev versus Whittaker. Winner becomes number one contender. The winner was Khamzat Chimaev, and in a sport that has chosen purely amongst themselves to put a big emphasis on finishes, he got the finish. But he never got the fight. He never got the shot. And many of us have wondered why. And there's rumors of travel restriction. We are told that those restrictions have been lifted, but not by anybody in authority, just internet rumor. So now we find out from Dricus that he was never hurt, that he's never done anything to delay a fight. As a matter of fact, he's got a fight. But he never mentions Khamzat Chimaev. So we were willing to accept the story that Chimaev and Dricus got split up when we found out about Dricus' injury. It wasn't wholly different than the night that we couldn't give Chimaev a title fight then against Sean Strickland because Chimaev had broke his hand. We understand that. And we moved on with it. But to find out that there is no injury, there is no delay, there just is no Khamzat Chimaev, I think is of concern. Why wouldn't it be? Where would it be? Dricus set out to clear the air, and he did so in a major way. He did not owe us this. He did not owe us this information. He himself said that he was having fun with the speculation, but he chose to tell us a lot. But he didn't choose to give us a name, and there is publicly a dispute. I thought it was Chimaev's fight. Imanov says his next fight is a title fight. Who's right?